Imagine you're driving after school to one of your favorite places with one of your favorite friends, listening to your favorite music. It's a beautiful day and it's a moment of perfection and a feeling that nothing could possibly go wrong. In a blink of an eye, all of that changes, and bam. A car going 45 miles an hour with a driver that didn't see you broadsides you. And in a split second, you have no idea what just happened. Your body has been jarred, the moment of laughter and music has stopped. And unknowingly, your future will be altered because the moment of perfection has turned into a moment of uncertainty. That bubble of innocence, peace, and contentment of the unknown that surrounded you for so long has suddenly burst. On May 21st, that's what happened to me. I didn't need this in my life. The last year was filled with enough difficulties on its own. I lost my grandpa, both my grandpas, and after a 5-month battle in the ICU this March, I lost my best friend, my grandma. Right after the crash, the ambulance came, and thankfully, there were no apparent injuries to myself, my friend, or the other driver that we knew of. The following days proved otherwise. I started having panic attacks that led to fainting. Shortly after that, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. My summer has been filled with a load of stress, medicine, and much uncertainty. Many things that I had enjoyed before, I now have much fear over. I love driving, and I enjoyed the freedom it gave me, but now I have met some reservations. I enjoyed being around people and crowds, and now that's the last place I want to put myself. With all this uncertainty, I had to ask myself, who was I turning to? Who was my number one? Was it my parents for their comfort? Was it the doctors for their knowledge? Was it the prescribed medication to make me feel better for that moment? Or was it God, the name above all names, the one who gave sight to the blind? In the midst of all of this, where is God in my life when bad things happen? When things don't go the way I planned it, how do I react? I may have the tendency to get mad at him and turn away from God. I get mad because he didn't make things go my way. I get mad when loved ones become ill, when I can't see eye to eye with my parents, when friends turn against me, or whatever the circumstance. I start looking for other avenues to get my answers from. I look for people like doctors, teachers, my parents, anyone who can tell me why this is happening. Or I turn to materialism to make me feel happy and to fill that void with things like medicine or sports or shopping. I could have the tendency to lean on him and give him control. But what if I'm in the middle? What happens when I think I'm leaning on God and trusting him, but in reality, I'm using other sources to gain answers and gain control? These sources are available because of God and not to be used instead of God. Who's in control of my life? If I were to be honest with myself, it would all depend on what day it was, who or what I needed, or what I was feeling, or what my emotions were. Exodus 23 says, "You shall have no other gods before me." What does that mean, to have no other God before him? To have no other God before God means to not put anything or anyone in his place. Taking the spotlight off of God, such as materialism, whether it's money, medicine, drugs, or alcohol, or putting your faith in people before you put your faith in God. 2 questions I ask myself is, where is God in my life when good things happen, and where is God in my life when bad things happen? When good things happen in my life, like making varsity or getting good grades, I have the tendency to glorify myself because of my hard work and efforts, and I say, those are all because of me. I have the feeling that I don't need God, and forgetting that he takes part in my life, in my successes. In fact, he's the reason for my successes. Isaiah 26:12 says, "Lord, you established peace for us. All we have accomplished, you have done for us." Through all of this, I had a day in the summer where I had turned to a book that had been recommended to me by many people. Most of you have probably heard of it, and some of you may have read it. It's called Crazy Love by Francis Chan. I've dealt with a great amount of worry and stress, and Francis Chan says that worry implies that we don't quite trust that God is big enough, powerful enough, or loving enough to take care of what is happening in our lives. He describes that stress says that things that we are involved in are important enough to merit our impatience, our lack of grace towards others, or our tight grip of control. But what does God say? God says in Philippians 4:6-7, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understandings, will guard your hearts and your mind in Christ Jesus." My worries and stress have turned my view on life, and at times it turned me away from God, even though I knew that the control of my life was in God's hands. As human beings, we feel that we need to be in control. We need to have that tight grip and make sure everything goes just the way we planned. The reality yesterday, today, and tomorrow is that God's in control. I don't know His plans for me, but I do know that He is good, He is faithful, and He won't leave me. I was put on earth to glorify God. I know there was much pain in our world and bad things happen, but the reality is there is always pain, and there's always heartache, depression, and fear on this side of earth. Even though I know these truths, I don't have to like them. I know that God will get me through this, and I know that God's plans are far better than my own. So I'll wait here, crying, praying, and knowing that He will deliver me through my pain and give Him glory. I'll do this through my new journey.